Good evening. You are listening to the Fumblerooski podcast by Power 88 Dean Radio. I'm Adam Wright along with Justin Tucker and CJ Medeiros. So we all hope you had a happy holiday and a happy new year. And special thanks to CJ and Justin for holding down the fort for these past two episodes and hosting. I got to say, you guys did a pretty good job as hosts. I'm very impressed. And, I gotta say, don't get sick during finals week. I had a vicious case of the flu, which is why I wasn't able to make it. And I had to get extensions for all my finals. I didn't have the energy to do anything. And I mean, you guys know, I hadn't missed an episode up until now. We've gone, 52, 53 episodes without me missing. And you guys know I love to be here. So I'm happy to be back. And CJ and Justin, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Not to tap myself on the back, but I think I did an okay job.
I heard you. You were great on the episodes I added. All right. So we have a lot planned for you guys tonight. And there is a league-wide surge in cases around the NFL. The Bengals are starting to show off their young core. The Miami's historically intriguing season, to say the least. We have the Fan Box and Sunday's Best segments, as always. But let's start off with the New England Patriots, who have lost their second in a row and surrendered the division lead. So the Patriots lost to the Bills. Buffalo overtakes the lead in the AFC East. I mean, there's not much else to say on that. But CJ, I understand you have a few thoughts on this subject, so please, the floor is yours.
Oh, how to express my frustration. My biggest issue is that I got my hopes up. I really did. I said, we're going to go places. But no, this is 2019 all over again. I guess the critics were right. Maybe we did have a cakewalk schedule. I mean, I still maintain that we did play some decent teams. Even Tennessee is good despite being injured. And we did play a playoff contender in Buffalo, despite bad weather, but my issue isn't with us specifically. I mean, we're a decent team all around. We have some good pieces. We obviously weren't going to go anywhere, with a rookie quarterback. We're young, we're learning, but the game, oh good God, that game was painful. The defense didn't force a punt. Buffalo was just toying with us the entire game. They went for it on fourth down, even when it was 4th and 9, just to screw with us. And I hate to say it, but Bill Belichick flat out got out coached. He did not make a single adjustment offensively or defensively. And defensively, you needed to, because some no-name Isaiah McKenzie was torching us, despite the fact he only had 6 catches on the entire season leading up to that point. And you put Miles Bryant on him, who is consistently getting burnt, and Bill doesn't even move him. He didn't put anyone else on Isaiah McKenzie, and Miles Bryant still kept getting lapped by Isaiah McKenzie. It's just, that was painful. Defense got no pressure. J.C. Jackson, much as I love him, did drop the world's easiest interception. And there's stuff like that. The offense couldn't get much going. I mean, I don't understand why we go all out in free agency for tight ends when we only target them twice. But alas, at least Damian Harris didn't suck. And I had him on my fantasy team, I can attest. But the one thing that really bothers me, 2 words, you know him well, N'Keal Harry. Oh, Lord, N'Keal Harry. Why do you do this to me, N'Keal? Why? And don't give me that excuse of, he's not getting enough targets, or the Patriots just aren't using him right. No, he's a liability. He's got Welker hands, and Welker hands in the Super Bowl. That's what kind of hands he has. He's slow as molasses. The only thing he can do is block. He's literally basically a bargain bin tight end. And Bill, I know Bill's not one to dwell on the past when he makes a mistake. So, Bill, kindly just find a better, not N'Keal Harry receiver. That is all. Adam, Justin, you want to take a stab at this?
Okay. I guess I gotta make you say, relax, take a deep breath. It'll be fine because at least your team will make the playoffs. I'm not so sure about my team, but at least your team has a chance to make the playoffs because of how healthy you guys are.
He's got a point. His team's in the hospital, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
His
I mean,
Ravens.
Sean texted me earlier about, hey, it could be worse. You could be the Saints. I'm like, we're worse than the Saints. He asked me, how's your team holding up? I'm like, good. If you think holding up is by being held up by tape. And so,
And it's Scotch tape, not to be confused with duct tape. It's Scotch tape.
Or flex tape, not even flex tape.
Or just Elmer's glue. We could use that.
It's ridiculous when I'm working
Gorilla.
with you. But it's not about me. It's about your Patriots. I told you guys to be worried about this game and to be worried about the Miami game. I told you guys you had 3 worrisome games. The Colts was 1, the Dolphins were 1, and the Bills were 1. I told you guys could potentially finish 10-7. But Adam was like, nah, can't be that. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, they lose to the Colts, even though Carson Wentz played atrocious. And then all of a sudden, what happens? They face the Bills. Y'all weren't going to get a disaster weather game. Y'all were going to get a regular weather game. And then we'll see what you guys were like. And then that's what happened. Now, I think it was just a bad overall coaching game by Bill. It happens sometimes. He can't win them all. I don't know why he keeps going with Bryant. I don't know either. J.C. Jackson usually comes up with interceptions, but occasionally some plays just don't happen. Just ask Asante Samuels in the Super Bowl, since we want to bring that stuff up. Also, just to take a dig, if Brady threw a better ball, well, Gurr would have caught it. But that's neither here nor there. I think you guys will be fine. I think you guys should be able to beat the Dolphins, but you guys struggle in Miami, and those guys are on quite the roll, 7-game winning streak, and so I think it's just to take it one step at a time and be all right. Just settle down. You guys got the Jaguars up next. You should be fine.
All right. So here's the thing with the Patriots this past weekend. I hear a lot of blame that goes toward the offense from that game. Honestly, I thought the offense was better than the defense in this game. And honestly, at times it was one of the bright spots. Okay? So the Patriots, they kept on, every time it seemed that they scored a touchdown late in that game, they would give up another drive where they would allow more points. And it just kept on going where their momentum would get crushed because their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed at the end of that game. And that was an issue last game where the Patriots made it a 20-17 game at the end by some miracle. And then they allowed Jonathan Taylor to run all over them and couldn't even stop them there. So that's 2 straight games. The coaching is another issue. And honestly, I wonder if this is one of those things where we're finally starting to face, actual real teams who aren't either injured or in crazy weather conditions or don't flat out suck. And this is becoming an issue because we've all gotten our hopes up, and now we're getting to a point where we're realizing what this team is, and they're just a good team. Not a great team that's a Super Bowl contender, like how they were 9-4 and everybody said they're the top seed. We're going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl goes through Foxborough. Nope, that's not happening. I was always skeptical of this team, and my fears have been confirmed here. And I don't love our chances. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to go far.
Yeah, I think the way the AFC is right now, you never know. I could give them a shot to go to the AFC Championship game and lose to the Chiefs.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But anyways, we talked a little bit about a couple of AFC East teams. We talked about the Bills and the Patriots here. Now we're going to talk about another AFC East team, which is red hot now and having a unorthodox season, to say the least, our Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about them next. You're listening to the Fumblerooski podcast. Welcome back. You're listening to the Fumblerooski podcast. I'm Adam Wright with Justin Tucker, CJ Medeiros. We are on what episode is this? 55, 56? We're getting up there.
I think we're on 56.
56.
So.
Amazing how we've gotten this far. But it's interesting how I mentioned that halfway through the episode. But so the Miami Dolphins, so get this, they won their first game of the season. Then they lost 7 straight, and we're thinking, all right, this team is in contention for the lottery pick. We'll see how they do. They're going to trade Tua Tagovailoa, and they'll be in the mix for Deshaun Watson. Then they rack off 7 straight, including one on Monday Night Football against the Saints. And Tua has actually been pretty good over this stretch. I believe he has a 15-9 touchdown to interception ratio, with around 3,000 yards. Pretty decent season so far. But, guys, what do we make of the Dolphins this season and going forward?
Well, if you look at the Dolphins, I think they're a tough, well-coached team that play hard and don't necessarily give up. You can tell just by the way they're playing right now. I think towards the midpoint of the season, they were like, what do we want to be? Do we want to be this bottom of the ranked team? Or do we want to be a playoff team? I think they realized what they wanted to be, and they started to rack off wins, including against my Ravens, but neither here nor there. And now they're 8-7, I believe, and then they have the final playoff spot over my team. And all I got to say is the first game of the season, they beat a New England Patriots team that should have won, and we wouldn't be in this situation. But I'm not holding that against you. But I think they're a good team.
I do. I hold it against them. This was very bad.
That's true. So I guess I'll go here. You know what? I'm gonna be that guy. Because I'll do it. I will be that guy. Now everybody, when Tom Page is like, yeah, well, who have they really played? And I'll be honest, I can say that the Dolphins, who have they played? That's good. I mean, they beat the Texans. They beat the handicapped Ravens. They barely beat the Jets. They beat the Panthers, the Giants. They barely beat the Jets again. And the Saints with Ian Book as the starting quarterback. Are any of these... Yeah, I said that. They beat the hospitalized Ravens.
Yeah, but they weren't as hospitalized back then. They were winning a lot of games at the time.
Still hospitalized, but I get his point. I get his
okay,
point.
But look. Outside of maybe the hospitalized Ravens, are these teams playoff contenders? So what I want to see... Now, look, I have said this, but I will hold my tongue a little bit more for the time being. Because despite the fact that Titans are injured, they're going down to Tennessee. And Tennessee's been picking it up as of late. So I'm going to reserve any further judgment until I see that. They have a tough remaining schedule. They're in Tennessee, then they host the Patriots. So all I have to say is we'll see.
All right. So I'm not taking this team seriously either, because it's just a cool feat. They won the first game, then they lost 7 in a row, they won 7 in a row. They're the first team ever to have both a 7-team losing streak and a winning streak. And oh, by the way, there's a good chance they could be in the playoffs. So looking forward, the biggest question I look at with this team, it's more of what are they going to do with Tua now that he's playing better? And honestly, if you guys want to give a quick response to this, I think they should still trade Tua and get more out of it. And in a Deshaun Watson deal, you don't have to give up as much because Tua is playing so well that they're like, yeah, we'll take him instead of maybe an additional second-round pick that they would have asked instead, or a first-round pick or any other picks. It makes the deal a lot better for the Dolphins.
Can't do that. You can't do that to Tua. That's just not fair.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tua fan, but he's been serviceable as of late. I feel like he's still raw, but the potential is there. And you have a lot of first-round picks. You have a lot of cap money. Just build around him.
Yeah, build around him. Don't trade him away. Don't do that. I'm not willing to give away my future when I have a serviceable quarterback right now that can lead us to the promised land sooner rather than later. Just for Deshaun Watson, who may or may not be able to play. That's
See,
all.
I just don't think he's the guy. I don't.
Well, only time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. Like that episode we did a few months ago. Remember, Justin, where we just kept on saying time will tell to the point where like we'll just name the episode that.
Time will tell.
Yeah. All right. So we looked at the future of one team in the Miami Dolphins, but let's look at the future of this other team, which is even more intriguing in terms of their future, which is the Cincinnati Bengals, who are building themselves up a bit of an offense here. All of which are young, by the way. We'll talk about that next. You're listening to the Fumblerooski podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. I'm Adam Wright, CJ Medeiros, Justin Tucker. We are here talking a little bit about the AFC right now, which seems to be a lot of what we talk about the most here. I mean, we are all fans of teams in the AFC, so that might be the reason. But here we are talking about another AFC team, except they are in the North, and they're not Justin Tucker's Ravens. They're their division rival, who just took over first in the AFC North, and have shown a little bit of promise here. So there's a fun little stat that was put out that, let's see, the Cincinnati Bengals, they are the first team ever to have a 4,000-yard passer, 2 1,000-yard receivers, and a 1,000-yard rusher, all under the age of 26 in the same season. So that is Joe Burrow at quarterback, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase at wide receiver. And don't forget about Tyler Boyd, who I believe is also still in his 20s and flirting with 1,000 yards right now with 2 games left. And there's also Joe Mixon, who is shown to be a very good running back in this league when he's in the right environment. So, guys, how close do you believe this young Bengals team is to contention?
CJ, you can go first.
Oh, thank you.
No, I think, you know what? I think we should let
Mr. Ravens fan go first.
Justin talk about his favorite team first, the Cincinnati Bengals.
You don't do that. I don't like this team. I can't stand them. They're like the plague. Every time they're brought up, they make me sick. I can't stand these guys. They talk way too much. And I hate the Steelers, but I hate these guys so much more because at least the Steelers are respectful enough to actually win something. These guys don't win nothing and they talk. And
they're winning now.
I'm talking about in
AFC North leaders.
Yeah.
What do they do in the playoffs? We've been through this. Once they make the playoffs, they say that we've arrived and get their ass kicked. I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I'm sick and tired of dealing with them. I'm annoyed with them. They beat an injury-ravaged team, and they're tweeting about it, posting on Instagram about it like bye-bye. Like, you're facing against practice squad players. What is there to be excited about with that?
All right, so Justin, how close is this team to contention?
They'll make the playoffs. And I think they're solid. I think they have a solid core. They have phenomenal talents at the wide receiver spot, a phenomenal talent at the quarterback spot, and a good talent at running back. I think they just need to clean up their defense now and maybe draft an old lineman. But other than that, within the next few years, they could be contenders. But that's just me not being biased. If I'm being biased, F them.
That was painful to listen to, watching you talk about them in a positive manner.
It's painful.
I'm sorry, Justin.
All right, CJ.
Well, then, that's a tough act to follow, but I'll do my best. Personally, I'm more of the optimist side. I like Joe Burrow. I'm a huge Joe Mixon fan. I love Jamar Chase in college. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, all good. But I feel like they're a few ways, like a few years away from contention. One, well, obviously because they're young. Two, Justin said their defense kind of has to, get a little bit better. Maybe get yourself a lockdown corner. I mean, your D-line's pretty decent. You have guys like Hutchinson. Not Hendrickson. Hendrickson.
And they have some
Thank you.
pieces at.
Yeah, and Jermaine Pratt's pretty good. And
They have some pieces in the secondary.
yeah, and Jesse Bates.
Jesse
But
Bates,
I mean,
they have.
you just need to tighten up the defense a little more. But if you're the Bungles, I know I call them the Bungles. I can't call them that anymore because they're good, but oh well. But if you're the Bengals, your number one priority should be O-line. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Joe Burrow is among still the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. That's not okay. And considering the fact his knee exploded last season, you're going to want to fix that so that doesn't happen again. That's just my 2 cents, basically. Just if you're the Bengals, you can jettison yourself closer to contention if you patch up that O-line. Your franchise quarterback will thank you.
So it's pretty simple how this team gets to contention. And I'll just say it right up front. They're not a contending team yet. And I fully expect this upcoming game against the Chiefs to be the embodiment of what this team is. Okay? On offense, they match right up with the Chiefs, to be honest. Besides the Chiefs obviously having a better quarterback. Well, we'll see. The sky's the limit for Joe Burrow. We'll see how he ends up being. But wide receiver, no questions there. They're as good as anybody, if not better. Running back, as good as anybody. And they even have a solid tight end in CJ Uzoma. And defense, they're serviceable. I agree. They need some work there, but where they really need work, what is going to transform this team into a contender is the offensive line. The battle against the Chiefs next week is not going to be won in the passing game. It's not going to even be won in the rushing game where the Bengals have an obvious advantage. It's going to be in the front lines, on that front seven. Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. So it's not like they fixed the issues from last year where Joe Burrow was getting killed. He still is getting killed. The only difference this year from last year is that offensive line got a little bit better so that he has a little bit of time to throw. But he's throwing the ball out there quick because he has all these targets. That's the reason why. And he's throwing the ball to Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's running the ball well. That's what's helping them. But what's going to hold them back is the fact that Chris Jones and Frank Clark are going to be on his ass tomorrow. So they need an offensive line. They need to fix it there. Get a little bit of help on the defense. And if they improve this offensive line to the point where it's a good team, where it's one of the better offensive lines in the league, look for Joe Burrow to be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Sorry, not Super Bowl. He will be, but
enough. Can we move on, please? Any more talk about the Bengals is gonna make me throw up. Let's move on.
All right. Look for him to be an MVP caliber quarterback in the next coming years. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, we're out of time for the Bengals, but up next we're gonna talk about our week 16 Sunday's best. We'll talk about that game next. You're listening to the Fumblerooski podcast. Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. I'm Adam Wright, CJ Medeiros, and Justin Tucker. So I messed it up. We were supposed to talk about in our next segment the COVID outbreak that's going on, but we'll just go on to the the Sunday's best anyways, and then we'll just get on to COVID right next. So Justin, our time limit for this segment will be 5 minutes. So Sunday's best was the Seahawks and Bears. Now these two teams have had kind of down seasons, but they did not disappoint in giving a very entertaining game for this week. But the Seahawks led for the entirety of the game, basically, including a 24-14 lead about midway through the third quarter. And the Bears rallied with a field goal early in the fourth and then a touchdown with 1 minute in regulation. And not only that, but they went for two instead of tying it. And this time they succeeded where other teams, Ravens, failed. And they took a 25-24 lead and they won at that very score. So what's notable to point out is that Nick Foles started over Justin Fields and Andy Dalton, who were both out. And so, guys, thoughts on this game?
Well, going for two works, Adam. I told you it does. Going for two does work. But anyway, congratulations.
It works until it bites you in the ass.
It works.
Sometimes.
We'll talk about this later. You know why we went for two. But anyway, Congratulations to the Chicago Bears. They deserve to get the victory because they were ballsy enough to earn the victory, and they rallied back from a 24-14 down bad. And then Nick Foles came and does what Nick Foles does and won them the game. Congratulations to them. I love the fact that it was snowing in Chicago, I believe. Makes the game even more magical in my eyes because it's around Christmas time. And so, yeah, congratulations to Chicago.
Well, I guess I'm up. How to put this? I know the Bears are a decent team, despite the fact their quarterback situation is intriguing, to say the least. They do have some decent pieces on offense and defense, and to call them an overall bad team is not true. Well, you can call them bad coached, fire Matt Nagy. But I feel this game says more about the Seahawks. Seahawks, you choked. You had the win in your hands, and then, the Bears go for two. They march right down your throat, score a touchdown, go for two, and you lose. And I'm going to call it the Seahawks window of, Super Bowl window. It's shut. It's over. You're not opening that for years. The Legion of Boom.
Shut and locked.
Oh, you know it. The Legion of Boom is gone. Russell Wilson wants out. And do you think Pete Carroll, old man Pete Carroll, is going to navigate you through a rebuild? Think again, 12s. So, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you need to start selling off pieces to accelerate your rebuild. You got no first-round picks out of that Jamal Adams trade. You got to sell off Wilson, maybe sell off Bobby Wagner because he's getting up there in age. Basically, everything not named Jamal Adams, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf should probably go. The time to rebuild is now. Just go to the future. Just don't look back because your window is shut. Just build. That is all. It's a harsh reality, but it's reality nonetheless.
So full-scale rebuild, you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, they have pieces, but they're few and far between. I mean, and also the Seahawks got eliminated with that loss. So
yeah,
there you go.
So their window is shut. The window is locked, and the key was swallowed by me. All right. So that was such a poorly coached game by Pete Carroll, and he really is kind of an overrated coach. He just gets all amped up. That's about it. You see him on the sideline chewing his gum, talking about how he should have run the ball, or actually how he doesn't regret running the ball.
Wait, he doesn't regret running the ball? Oh.
He kept on saying, he was like,
he doesn't, passing.
He doesn't regret passing the ball. He's like, passing the ball is a great idea unless it doesn't work. I'm like, whoa, really? But anyways, Russell Wilson is gone, and this game confirmed it. This is such a disappointing season for them, such a train wreck season for the Seahawks, and the real question now is, where is Russell Wilson going to go? And it's going to be very intriguing to watch these quarterbacks, the quarterback movement, as if it was crazy enough last offseason with Matthew Stafford and several other quarterbacks. And I'm missing one other guy, Carson Wentz. several other quarterbacks. It's going to be worse this year, where we're going to see Deshaun Watson finally find a new home. And Aaron Rodgers possibly going to a new team. And now Russell Wilson. So that's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think he should go to the Saints. That'd be a good spot for him.
Yeah, it'd be a good spot for him. They'd have a quality quarterback, and hopefully Mike Thomas will be back by now. But you would hope.
We will see. So up next, we're finally going to get to our COVID surge, which we were supposed to talk about in this segment, but whatever. That'll be segment 4, I believe. So that'll be segment 4. Coming up next, the COVID surge. Don't go anywhere. This is the Fumblerooski podcast. You are listening to the Fumblerooski podcast by Power 88 Dean Radio. I'm Adam Wright, Justin Tucker, CJ Medeiros in for you on this fine winter night. And so per league data, there were 165 players placed on the COVID list during the week of December 13th through 18th. 205 players were put on the list through the week of December 20th through the 25th. And per NFL research, the total number of players placed on the reserve COVID list is 521 in the month of December, including 476 since December 13th. So unbelievable surge going on. Mm-hmm. And so Tom Pelissero gave out a little list of some changes going on that are going to happen to protocols. So we'll have unvaccinated individuals still subject to a 5-day quarantine for high-risk close contact. Meetings only allowed outdoors or distanced in practice bubble. Mandatory masks indoors for all. That includes vaccinated people. A maximum of 15 players in the weight room, and no eating together. So, guys, thoughts on this surge and thoughts on the changes that the NFL is making?
CJ?
Oh, how kind of you, Justin. Yeah, they're stupid. Extremely so, I might add. So first, let me address masking, because this is a topic that peeves me. Oh, you have to wear your mask inside the building. You have to do socially distanced interviews, and you have to, do teleconferences. Like, what? No. I mean, you're going to take care to make sure everyone wears a mask, to make sure everyone social distances, and then you have guys literally tackling each other, sweating on each other, breathing each other on the football field. There's no consistency. There's not. It's like, this is COVID-19. Either it's not to be taken seriously or you lock everything down. You can't mix and match, especially with masking, because then it doesn't work.
It's like Avengers. It's like in Avengers Endgame when Dr. Hulk is saying it's either all of it's a joke or none of it is.
Precisely. That is it. It is. It's all a joke or none of it is. And look, and thanks to the high vaccination status of the league, we don't really see the original COVID variant, the Delta variant. Now we have the Omicron variant, which, per the people that discovered it, the doctors in South Africa who actually discovered it are saying, like, some of the symptoms are a runny nose, a sore throat, mild cough. Does this sound like anything we know? You want to take a stab at what that sounds like? Yeah, common that's cold. Right. It's basically the common cold. And it's like, and it's so similar where if you even have an illness like the flu or the cold, it's like, we can't risk it. You might have Omicron. Like, that's stupid. That is so extremely stupid. I'm sorry. And it's just, and I don't want the mob to come after me saying I'm anti-vax. I'm not. I think you should get it. I really do. But if you're going to tell people to mask indoors while you play a sport where you're literally tackling each other, sweating on each other, breathing on each other, then no, that's just stupid. Because COVID's still going to spread one way or another. These rules are literally just a band-aid on a bigger issue. And the issue is going to go away probably in the near future. But if you keep enlarging it, people are just going to get upset. That's all I got. I'm sorry, I ranted, but the truth must be told.
The truth must be
That was
told.
beautiful,
It
CJ.
sounded quite elegant.
Oh, I thank you.
All right. As far as the league is concerned, it's kind of hard to combat it considering the way the NFL is, the way football is. It's kind of hard to combat it when you have multiple people in multiple different positions at multiple different times. You're going to have to come across COVID at one point in time. Unfortunately, it does happen. My team is going through it right now, which I do not need because of all the injuries we have. But I digress. I'm not sure if I like the new changes that they're doing to it because it's like it doesn't really help me anyway because I'm a fan either or. So I have mixed feelings about it. If it's for the interest of the team or the players, then I'm for it. But at the same time, I don't think it makes much of a difference anyhow. So I think this is the NFL trying its best to try to get players back on the field as soon as possible. But I'm not sure it's going to work out the way the league wants to. And I still think more players are going to end up on the COVID list.
So what we need to start doing, because this is just not a sustainable way of working by just making this COVID list where this big mass of players who just can't play. It's getting to a point where, like, if it made sense before the vaccine was fully distributed, because, hospitalizations were up and the death rate was, 0.2 is still not, I mean, it was still higher than that of the flu. Now the vaccine is fully distributed, and anybody who can take the vaccine who wants to take the vaccine can take the vaccine. So it's at a point where if you're worried about this virus, get vaccinated. And before this COVID thing was a thing, before this pandemic, there was never, if a player had the flu, it was just he's flu-like symptoms, he's questionable. That was what they had. And sometimes they would be out with illness because, I mean, you can't play when you're feeling like garbage. That has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to die or whether or not you'll get hospitalized. It's just feeling like crap, low energy. And we got to downgrade this virus to that level because players are vaccinated. Most players are vaccinated. And even when you're not the players who aren't vaccinated, when they get it, it's just a common cold, basically. Especially with these healthy individuals, these young players, we have to treat this like it's just a normal, just any other flu, because the way we're doing this is not sustainable.
I don't think the rest of the world will see it like that, Adam, because they're going to look at the amount of people that have died due to this common cold you refer to it as, and they'll feel a certain type of way about it.
All right, how many people have died from the Omicron variant? That's the real question. This isn't the Delta variant. This isn't the OG COVID. This is the Omicron variant.
Mm-hmm.
One
person.
Yeah,
that's correct, Adam. One.
O.J. Simpson has killed more people than the Omicron variant has.
He has not. That is alleged.
Alleged.
Hey, we don't promote conspiracies on this podcast, but the glove didn't fit. The glove didn't fit. No, I'm kidding. Please don't come after me, people.
I'm just saying, like, we're getting to a point where, when the vaccine is distributed and the death rate, the mortality rate is below that of the flu, we need to stop treating this like it's some deadly thing. This isn't the plague. It's basically on the level of just a really bad cold, basically. I know of course people are going to die of every virus. There's going to be a small population. That's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But it's just, that's part of the risk of life. and it's the average age of people who die from it are at an age of 85. It's not children, it's not teenagers, it's not these grown NFL players. Nobody has died in the NFL yet. Knock on wood. But anyways, where are we at on time, Justin?
We got a minute left.
We got about a minute left. All right. Let's move on. And we have coming up next, I believe we have the Fumblerooski Fan Box, our favorite segment. Coming up next, don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Fumblerooski podcast. This is the Fumblerooski podcast by Power 88 Dean Radio. Adam Wright here alongside Justin Tucker and CJ Medeiros. And we have reached close to the end of our show, and you know what that means. That means we are on to the Fumblerooski Fan Box. So we post a question box every Monday, and you respond with hot takes, questions, and more, and we will discuss it and give you a shout-out on our podcast. Respond to next week's fan box question to be featured on our show. So the question of the week was, who was the biggest Pro Bowl snub of the year? So Pro Bowl selections have come out, and there was an interesting selection. So we'll give our thoughts on that as well. And CJ, do you want to type up on your computer, on your laptop, while I'm listing these off, the list of selections, so we can just go through them real quick?
Yeah. Just you go through. I'll try to find the 2021 Pro Bowl.
All right. Anyways, so our first response was from CJ himself, which was Cordero Patterson. Man is a beast. The true positionless offensive player. He can do it all. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Elaborate on that?
Yeah. I'd love to. This actually goes into another, how do I put this? Another point that I have. I feel we need to add, in this new age of NFL, we need to add like another position to the Pro Bowl, like a positionless position, if that makes any sense.
It doesn't make sense, but continue.
It sounds like you're describing the flex position in fantasy football.
You know what? Yeah, that's it. That is it. The flex. That's what we need. We need a flex. And I can think of no better than Cordero Patterson. I'm sorry. He's dude's just a beast. Like I said, he can do it all. Run, catch. I bet he could kick if you asked him to. Mm-hmm. So just look at what he's doing. The numbers he's putting up, while asked to do everything. Without Calvin Ridley and with Kyle Pitts being kind of streaky, he's basically carrying the Falcons' offense. And I think that by himself, like, definitely deserves him some love, but apparently not.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. Big T, I think Tyson Tate. Tyson Tate, I heard you on your new podcast that you're looking to make. He came out to ask for me some advice on how to start it. So Tyson, good luck on your new podcast. But you said Kirk Cousins, haven't heard a single word about him. He's got a point. I mean, he's a pretty solid player.
I mean, statistically, Kirk Cousins is having a good season, no?
He's quietly having a career year. Also, do you have I see the stuff that you put on. Do you want to put in the NFC as well?
I just did.
Just did? All right. So we'll go through that real quick in a few seconds. Let's just whip through this real quick. Nick Normand said Matthew Stafford, Deontay Johnson, and Josh Allen. So he had a few. He said Lamar has not been having a Pro Bowl year.
Again, who said that?
Oh dear.
Nick Normand. He is I must point out, he is a Steelers fan.
That's tough, my boy. That's tough. That's tough. You shouldn't have said that. You know what I gotta say? Too damn bad is what I gotta say.
Deontay Johnson's a very good wide receiver. The only issue is there's too much competition for him.
I was about
And
to say, that's
Stafford,
tough,
he has a point. Josh Allen, yeah, I agree. Allen over
That's
Lamar.
unfortunate.
I mean,
That's
Lamar's
unfortunate.
been hurt, no?
Yeah, Lamar's been hurt. If he's been healthy, yes, he would have been a Pro Bowler. That's
No,
my
not
only
really.
issue with it. Yes, he would have.
All right. Up next, Secret Weapon Consulting, which I believe CJ said he's friends with, right?
You could say that.
Jake Bailey and or Nick Folk. They're having career years, and Jake
Okay.
Bailey, he's arguably an All-Pro.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he's easily like one of the best punters in the league. I know that's not something we discuss, but yeah, I mean, plus no disrespect to Justin Tucker, but good God, Nick Folk has been so good. And yes, I know Justin Tucker with his record-breaking kick. Oh boy, let's carry him around on our shoulders. But look, I'm just saying,
Game winner.
Big team. Tyson Tate also said Eric Kendricks, linebacker. Yeah, I agree. He's having a better statistical year than his Pro Bowl year back in 2019.
Yeah, Eric Kendricks is one of those players that seems to have fallen by the wayside as of late, but he's still pretty damn good.
Absolutely. Brian Mucker said, if you want to look on the defensive side, Justin Simmons. Offense, Joe Burrow. I can't say Joe Burrow. I can't agree with Joe Burrow, but Justin Simmons. Man.
Another really underrated safety. There's a lot of them.
It's because people don't really pay attention to the safeties in the secondary. They're always paying attention to the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Anyways, Patrick Williver, who responds to just about every fan box question we have, said Patterson 100%. So we've already discussed that in detail, but I agree, Patrick. I agree. All right, let's go through this list fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just say agree or disagree. Justin Herbert.
Agree.
Yes.
I agree. Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was unanimous.
Oh dear.
Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely.
No, I'm torn.
Take anything for
Nope.
I won't take no for an answer.
All right, Jonathan Taylor. Yes.
Yeah.
That's unanimous.
Nick Chubb.
Of course.
Yes.
Maybe. I feel like there's somebody else in the league who's better. Anyways, Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's having a career year.
He's been so good for my fantasy team.
Nick Chubb's a top 5 rusher, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yep. He's having another great year. Jamar Chase.
Yep. As a rookie, man, that's impressive.
Go ask
He's
another
having a great
person.
year. Stephon Diggs.
A bit of a down year, but still a Pro Bowl caliber year nonetheless.
Yep. Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Perpetually underrated Keenan Allen.
Slayer.
Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have him in fantasy. So
Beast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beast.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, who else would it be?
It'd be Darren Waller, but he's been injured too much.
True.
All right. Now on to tackle. Offensive tackle, Rashaan Slater.
Yeah, Rashaan Slater is super underrated. I would agree.
Rookie year. He's only given up 4 sacks. That's pretty good.
Yep. Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would know because, he used to be a Raven, 2-time Pro Bowler with us, but he was counting.
Yep. Deion Dawkins.
I think could have found someone better.
All right. Offensive guard, Quentin Nelson.
Of course.
Q is always going to be phenomenal.
Joel Bitonio.
Yeah.
Bitonio, yes. Guard for the Cleveland Browns. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wyatt Teller made it.
Wyatt Teller. Yep.
Yep.
At center.
Serious.
At center, Corey Linsley.
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly.
No.
I think
I don't think he's better than David Andrews. I really don't.
And Creed Humphrey should have been in.
Oh yeah, that he should.
Fullback, Patrick Ricard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Justin, honestly.
Myles Garrett. Now we're going on to defensive end. Myles Garrett,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Trey Hendrickson.
Of
Yes.
course.
Unfortunately, yes.
DeForest Buckner at interior lineman now.
Yes.
sir.
Solid.
Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I struggle to think of anyone better off the top of my head.
This should be unanimous. TJ Watt,
Yes.
who's probably going to win
Defensive
Player of the Year.
Probably.
Joey Bosa.
Yep.
Yep. Matt Judon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Inside and middle linebacker. So there's Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
No. Denzel Perryman.
I don't think he was better than Patrick Queen, but yes.
Yeah, Patrick Queen, you could definitely make a case for. Milano from the Bills, you could definitely make a case for. There's like a few people better than Perryman.
Yep. JC Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. He's having a career year. I still don't think he's a number one. He's just having a good year. But
I do not have the
Xavier
energy to
Xavier
argue
Howard.
that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Denzel Ward.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Moore the second.
Yes, he deserves
Yeah,
it.
sure.
He deserves it.
All right. Free safety. Kevin Byard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bayard? Yeah.
Strong safety. Derwin James.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Honey Badger.
All right. Now it goes down to long snapper, punter, place kicker. Well, place kicker is Justin Tucker.
That's obvious. I don't care. Y'all could say Nick Folk, but my guy hits NFL record game winners. Your guy can't even beat the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Justin
Devin-
Tucker wouldn't have made that kick. Fight
Yes,
me.
he would have.
Not in the rain.
Would have made that kick.
Devin
All right, whatever.
Duvernay, return specialist.
Yep.
Special teamer Matthew Slater. He always makes it because
Yes,
he's
sir.
that great. All right. Now going on to the NFC. Let's skip around and look at some of the more controversial options.
Yeah, he was going more
So Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those are pretty unanimous because those are the top two in MVP voting. However, Kyler Murray.
You've had this problem for a year now. This is your second year.
Yeah. This guy beat out Tom Brady last year for a Pro Bowl nod, even though he had no business beating him out. And now he's beating out Matthew Stafford, who had a
this
much
just
better
shouldn't
year.
be.
That was stupid. Stupid. No disrespect to Kyler Murray. Very talented quarterback. His year will come, but he doesn't deserve these past two Pro Bowls. All right, running back, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Alvin Kamara.
James Conner might be quiet.
Kamara actually hasn't been having a good season, honestly.
He hasn't. He was obviously put in for the
name value. Yeah, I mean, look, I love Alvin Kamara. He's one of my favorite players, but I don't think he should have gotten in. I can't name anyone off the top of my head as this. Oh yeah, I can actually. Playoff Lenny.
Yep. Leonard Fournette.
Zeke.
Ezekiel Elliott deserves it over these guys, and you can make a case for Dalvin Cook
or Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, absolutely, but I don't get this list. All right,
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp. That's unanimous.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Actually, I feel like we can agree on all the receivers.
Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, for Cordero Patterson, I mean, like, there's a better version of him, and that's Deebo Samuel.
George Kittle and Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Is there
Pitts
anybody
doesn't
else?
have too stiff competition in the NFC. Maybe Hawkinson, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Got
All
it.
right, let's look around a little bit. Honestly, the rest of it is fine.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons and Bobby Wagner at linebacker, Chandler
That's
Jones, Robert
controversial to
Quinn.
me. Micah Parsons, not that he doesn't deserve it, but they put him as a middle backer.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, Parsons, like, you can play him anywhere.
Yeah.
And Trevon Diggs is the same. Trevon Diggs is a little overrated.
He's overrated, but he
got
deserves it
11
just on his
picks.
pick totals alone. However, I
Basically.
will admit he does get burned every time you target him, he's either going to give up like a 40-yard touchdown or he's going to pick it off. He's very
Right.
streaky, but he deserves it.
All right, so I think that'll be it for Pro Bowls. You guys have anything else to say Actually, let's talk about John Madden a little bit. John Madden passed away at the age of 85. Boys, give your condolences, thoughts.
Probably the greatest mind in football history.
Yeah, he was a great coach. I loved listening to him be a color announcer. He was really funny. Sharp as attack, knew the game. And like I said, great coach, just I don't know, he's one of the greats, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And rest in peace. My thoughts go to his family, just
incredible football mind.
Yeah.
Great commentator, and
one of the biggest names in football.
And yeah, absolutely. Everybody knows about Madden, basically because of the game Madden. And he has a video game named after him that is extremely popular.
Mm-hmm.
So, unbelievable. Rest in peace, John Madden. You'll forever be one of the biggest names in football and known as a great person, great commentator, great everything you did. But anyways, any other thoughts before we conclude the show?
Nah.
I'm good.
All right, let's do it. That'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for listening to us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Spotify, Spreaker, and Google Podcast. Also, be sure to follow our Instagram at Fumblerooski __ podcast to keep up with our podcast and the latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Over and out.
Bye-bye.
See ya.